While 2027 recruiting is giving to the Oklahoma Sooners, 2028 is taken away.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire. And on today's show, players are praising Brent Venables and the culture that he has created. We're going to talk about some edge players that are really standing out so far in spring ball. But we're starting right here, Jay. Micah Rhodes, the 2028 running back that had committed to Oklahoma not long ago, decommitted from the Sooners on Wednesday.
Yeah, he posted a nice little post or whatnot saying he's thanking Oklahoma for them taking him in and accepting his commitment and everything, and appreciate all the love or whatnot. And he's like, but after he committed to, and his coach DeMarco Murray left within a week. Literally, he committed a week later. DeMarco Murray bounces. He decided that he needed to reopen his recruitment. Now, granted, Micah Rhodes is also a Texas legacy, and so it kind of feels like a Colton Vasek type situation.
Colton Vasek PTSD coming.
Yeah, right, 2.0. But I digress. It made sense for him to really step away, John. You're a 2028. Take your time. Enjoy the process. Do the visits. Get to know folks. To me, I would tell kids, unless you're a quarterback, to not commit anywhere until around your senior year. Because it makes more sense to commit like now with your senior year coming up than it is for your junior year. You have a whole year stats and stuff to put together, and then you go into your senior. Enjoy the process, do your visits, see who's who. Regardless if you're talented and teams are willing to bring you in for visits, they're going to keep always being interested in you. Yep. I've seen kids, knock on wood, this doesn't happen to him, but I've seen kids get injured their senior year and still commit to a school, rest that year, and then come out and play the after a red shirt freshman year. So it happens, but it's okay to go out there, ball out, and do that. I mean, heck, Andy Bass is on the roster, and he's now finally having a good year after 2 unfortunate years of injuries.
Yeah, so it's just disappointing. You don't hold on to the commitment, but at the same time, maybe it was always going to go this way anyway, being that he's a Texas legacy. That's, I think, a starting point on this. It was surprising he committed to Oklahoma in the first place, given the ties to the Longhorns. At the same time, that just goes to show the recruiting prowess of DeMarco Murray and where he stands among recruits. People like DeMarco Murray. For whatever Sooner Nation feels about DeMarco Murray, the players like DeMarco Murray. And that means something. At the same time, you've got a new running backs coach. Things change, vision changes, direction changes. And it's not to say that they weren't going to welcome Micah Rhodes into the fold with Dylan McCullough at the helm. At the same time, maybe it just wasn't a fit one way or the other. It doesn't matter which way, just may not have been a fit anymore. And that's okay. Now's the time to figure that out, right? Than to continue to just go through the process and assume that everything's all good.
Yep.
Better to figure it out early. Now you can just take your time, like Jay's talking about. This is one of those kids that's going to have offers from a lot of places, and he can go look at a lot of places and really get a feel for what he's looking for with the college. And it's not Oklahoma. That's okay. Oklahoma is going to have some talented options to roll with, and they've got a young running back room. Xavier Robinson, Tory Blaylock, Jonathan Hatton, DeZephan Walker will all be here, I imagine, in 2027, unless somebody decides to portal. I expect them all to be next year.
And I expect that you're bringing in 2 running backs in the 2027 class too to add to that. And so that means X-Rob, Tory Blaylock, Hatton, DeZephan Walker. You still got Gabe Salchuk, Andy Bass will still be there. And then you'll bring in 2 more. Lloyd Avant will still be here, most likely. Then you add 2 more players. The room's going to, the room will be in a good spot. So it's not a bad thing that you that you're 28, you're going to take your time on. Plus, there's an opportunity for Dylan McCullough to go find somebody that he may be interested in, or he may be interested in Micah Rhodes. They may circle back. But at the same time, I know that Dylan's focus right now is the guys they currently have. He's probably working on development in that room. And, 28, he's going to let the front office do their job. Get him a good lineup of people to have conversations with, and then, start working on that. But again, unless you're a quarterback, I don't see a reason for you to commit 2 classes ahead. I mean, we've seen this before with us. Anytime a kid commits 2 classes ahead, I'm just like, this is cool and all, but we'll see how long this sticks. Zane Rowe was a great example of that. That happened. Heck, Jonathan Hatton was one. Mm-hmm. He was one that committed a couple of classes ahead and then decommitted. And luckily we got him back, because I'm so glad that we got him back. But it happens. It's recruiting, man. They're young. Their mind's going to change. And they're kids. They're going to change their mind. Certain things going to get them excited.
And the circumstances changed.
Yeah, circumstances changes too, right? Like your coach is gone.
Yep.
Gone with the NFL.
And as much as everybody wants to be like, you're committing to the school, not the coach, that's not real. That is not real life. I mean, for most players, a lot of players might commit to Oklahoma because they want to play at Oklahoma. Others, correct, they're committing for one of the coaches, whether it's the head coach, the offensive coordinator, or some assistant that has recruited them. And listen, Micah Rhodes is a great player. So please don't mistake any of this conversation as a thought that he's not good. He's great.
Oh yeah, I
think he's going to be really good at the collegiate level for whoever he ends up playing football for. And I have full faith that Dylan McCullough is going to find somebody that's very talented to be a part of that 2028 recruiting class, because there's a long track record of players that have produced at a very high level under his tutelage. So both things are true. He's a great player. Also, Dylan McCullough is a great coach.
Yeah. I know that McCullough's going to find somebody that's going to fit for him. If it's not Micah Rhodes, he'll find somebody that'll fit what they're trying to do. Running backs, there's a ton of running backs out there. There's always options. So, yeah.
And I think we saw something similar happen when Ben Arbuckle came, right? You had a quarterback that was committed to the program under a previous offensive coordinator. When the new offensive coordinator came, he had a guy in mind that he wanted to be his quarterback. And they tried to play for both guys, and ultimately it didn't work. And Jaden O'Neal decided to find a home elsewhere. And that's okay. That's just the way the game goes. It's all in the game. And so this is just one of those things that kind of plays out this way. And we've seen it also benefit Oklahoma. Jason Witten coming to Oklahoma moved the needle in a big, big way for Seneca Driver to get him to turn his attention towards the Sooners. So you win some, you lose some, you get some, they decommit sometimes. That's just the way the recruiting game goes.
The game is the game, man. That's how recruiting works.
The game is the game.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm curious to see how soon they even go after another 28, right? Like, I know they're going to have visits, junior days, and all of that stuff. That actually intrigues me. I'm curious to what that looks like for them over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and so
we're
far,
not done with the 27 class.
Yeah, the only running backs currently offered in the 2028 cycle were Micah Rhodes, Zachary Bellio. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. And Corey Hinton. Corey Hinton is Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas, Nevada. So you got to imagine that was a DeMarco Murray offer. And then Bellio, they've recruited well out of the Southeast as well. And so it'll be just kind of interesting to see what Dylan McCullough's offer sheet looks like as he takes over now with the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah. Hopefully, like I said, I'm not really concerned about 2028. Heck, if they see somebody into 27, they want to add a third. I mean, I wouldn't be complaining about that either. But at this point, you've got Keldrick Ben, who's locked in, and you got Stokes. I think we're solid at running back for right now.
We're really good at running back, beyond solid, in my opinion. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out for the 2028 cycle. But we'll talk about edge room, because while there might be some question, I think we're getting some answers this spring. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. TurboTax Experts works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. So head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment at turbotax.com. And thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you want more Locked On Sooners with less ads, go to lockedonsooners.supercast.com for ad-free versions of Locked On Sooners across all of your favorite podcast platforms. And you get a members-only invite to a chat over there on Discord where you can talk ball with Jay and I. Right now, we've been talking through the Micah Rhodes situation and what we expect out of Dylan McCullough as a running backs coach, as well as Jay dropped his two deep depth chart projection in there as well. And that got a lot of people talking, especially about the running back room.
Yeah, no, I told y'all that the initial one that I have isn't. It's based upon, spring ball right now. That could change. All of that could change like very quickly. But right now, what I think it looks like, just, kind of a starting point. We'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, just feeling some things out. And it's going to be, fun to see kind of how that all plays out. And if you want to get in on the action and just try it out and see if it's something you might be interested in, you can go use promo code March over there right now, and you can get 1 month free using code March over at lockedonsooners.supercast.com just to try it out. And then if you don't like it, just cancel. But I think you're going to enjoy what you get over there in the Discord chat because it's good times.
Yeah.
Not just with us,
good time,
but across the Locked On community as well. All right. Edge room was a bit of a question. We know Taylor Wein is going to be a stud for you at one of those defensive end spots, but we weren't quite sure who's going to be the guy that steps up at the other defensive end spot. Well, it seems like we're starting to get some answers.
Yeah, that was the biggest question. Me and you, John, we talked about it when we did our initial preview of the room of, okay, we know PJ's out due to injury. When he comes back, will he find his way back in there? And the one player that, besides him that we were expecting and hoping to have a breakout was Daniel Okoye. And it sounds like he's already showing those leadership traits that we expected. He's considered one of the more athletic players on the team, especially in that position. Heck, can do a standing back flip, right? Like with ease. And he's super athletic, uber athletic. And he likes violence. And so you're just ready for him to be that guy that breaks out. Well, it sounds like he is starting to do that, and he's starting to create the havoc that Oklahoma is hoping that they would have gotten out of him, even honestly as a true freshman. But he's been putting in the work. His dedication has been focused there, and you start to see it on the field.
Yeah, there's a lot of really positive things coming out of spring ball about Danny Okoye. The size, you cannot teach what he's got from a size perspective. The length is really, really good. And then the explosiveness, the get off, the athleticism, all of those things are going to allow him to be a really, really good edge player for Oklahoma. It's just about fine tuning the details that go along with playing the position, because it's not just about rushing the passer. Got to be able to set the edge. But from all accounts, it sounds like he's taking steps in that direction to go be big time for the Sooners.
He's doing everything that they're asking him for and more. He's putting in all the extra work on that. And so when you add with him, he was saying, like, in one of the interviews, that he felt like he was holding himself back those first couple of years. He wasn't really investing the way he felt like he needed to. And then when he really started digging into it, he realized, let me add some more to this and I can get out there. And then if I'm being honest, my personal observation is, saw what happened with Taylor Wein.
Yes.
And how quickly things changed for him. He's probably like, I'm up there with him. I was a high 4-star for a reason. Nick Saban wanted me for a reason. Let me turn this up.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. So I expect him on the other side of Taylor Wein to start the year. I do expect a lot of PJ. We kept him from he went in the portal, came back out. For about 4.5 minutes, but we kept him from leaving.
Yeah.
So obviously we have a plan for him. Then the next question is, which I've seen that in one of the observations from practice on Monday was Kenny Ozuwalu was playing at the edge as well, right behind Okoye. And so you get big Ozuwalu, who's 290, but he's able to play edge and the interior, and he's out there at the edge. Man, it's gonna be a fun set of rotations that you're going to be able to see with that. And then, of course, we've heard about what Whitemore is considered the next Taylor Wein. How fast is he going to be able to get out there and play right behind Taylor Wein? Is that going to be the rotation on that side?
You've got options. And
that's the best part.
Yeah, with the emergence of Kenny Ozuwalu, it also gives Brent Venables, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis some defensive front options as well. If they want to run a 3-man front with David Stone at one of the quote-unquote defensive end spots, Kenny Ozuwalu at the other defensive end spot, and Jaden Jackson at defensive tackle, and then you can run your 3 or 4 linebacker set, that creates some really intriguing options for you. Or if you want to run Daniel Okoye as that other edge and get big with a 5-man defensive line front, again, you've got options. This is a really intriguing group. They're not all built the same, and they have different levels of experience. You could go big and heavy with Kenny Ozuwalu and PJ Adebaware at your defensive end spots. You can go quick, twitchy, athletic pass rushers with Danny Okoye and maybe a Jake Krell, who has really, really impressed so far in camp. You've got intriguing options, and I can't wait to see how Brent Venables, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis decide to deploy these guys on the edge, because again, you could go 3-man fronts, you can go 4-man fronts, you could try to run some traditional 3-4 style fronts where you got your bigger defensive linemen in the middle, and then your twitchier, your R. Mason Thomas types playing that outside linebacker spot. Again, just options. But to Jake Krell, man, he was always one of those guys that we kind of pinpointed could be a breakout star as a true freshman. Our guy, Brian Smith of the portal here on the Locked On Network that covers recruiting and the transfer portal stuff, has been blowing us up about Jake Krell for more than a year, and just talking about the refined technique that he brings to the table. And Taylor Wein is echoing that in spring ball as well. He's like, he's further along than I was as a freshman, and he's got a lot of answers to the questions already.
I mean, that's pretty darn huge if you got him saying that. Yeah, I think he's better than what I was as a freshman. Hey, that's all I need to hear. Tells me everything I need to know about what he can be. We kind of expected Krell, like, he was a 5-star, and there's kind of a reason why we felt like they went after him. They expect him to probably find a way on the field, and he has been. I know he's been getting a little bit of rotation or whatnot. He's one that I would not be surprised if, because I know he played second team, I wouldn't be surprised if he puts on the right amount of weight. He ends up playing as a freshman.
He's definitely going to get some pass rush snaps. Whether they decide to redshirt him or not, we'll see. But
that's the question,
In 4 games, you're going to see him rush the passer, whether it's in their non-conference games. But I think that because of his dynamic ability to get to the quarterback, you're going to put him on the field. You're going to find ways to get him out there rushing opposite Taylor Wein. You're going to split some of those reps with Danny Okoye. And the good news is, if you pull Wein off the field for a 3rd down or Okoye off the field for a 3rd down, you've got a guy that is a polished pass rusher that can step in and provide something in a 3rd and long situation. You may not want him out there in like 3rd and 3 where the option is still there to run the ball at this point, but get him in some 3rd and long situations and just say, Jake, go get him.
Yeah, just go take the guy out.
That's right.
That'd be fun. And like I said, as a starting point, that's good. Of course, at some point, you're going to want him to be able to, be able to do some run stopping or whatnot. But when it's a guaranteed pass down, heck yeah, go out there and just, go buck wild, buddy. Go make it happen.
And this is the part of, if the offense improves like we think it's going to, and they're a better group and they can get this defense more leads, and you're letting Jake Krell play the third and fourth quarter as Oklahoma has a 10, 14-point lead, and they're just going after the quarterback, dude, he's going to have a chance to put up some numbers. So I'm excited to see what this room looks like, because there's a lot of untapped talent and untapped potential, but we've seen what they've been able to do, Miguel Chavis in particular, at finding that potential and letting it break out. So coming up, players speaking to the culture, because culture still matters as much as everybody wants to make it about NIL and the transfer portal, starting opportunities, playing time. Culture still matters. Coming up here on Locked On Sooners.
What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood predictive markets. And not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matters. Robinhood predictive markets changes the game. It gives people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator, play-by-play. You decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin futures and clearing swaps. Trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. The tournament's here, and one of the best times of the year. You got those bracket busters, the buzzer beaters, you got upsets, nonstop action from tip to final cutdown. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a way to stay in the action all tournament long. You get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. Like, for real, 10 days. Something that you got to, of course, take advantage of. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. We're at the Final Four now. So you need to go ahead and take advantage of what the Final Four has to offer in both men's and women's. You can mix up, however you want it, game picks, futures, or even same game parlays for bigger potential payouts. It's perfect for tournaments because every day there's something new, something different. Matchups, new storylines, and more ways to get involved as the brackets unfold. Got to take advantage of it, folks. So visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com to get in on the action.
And thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers. Brent Venables' culture has been a big-time talking point during his tenure with the Oklahoma Sooners. And Oklahoma released the first episode of The Hurry Up with Parker Livingston, Cade McIntyre, Courtland Guillory, speaking to the culture. And I'm going to just start with this quote right here from Guillory, because you have a freshman All-American, a dude that was a breakout star as a true freshman, someone who is going to be one of Oklahoma's most important pieces over the next 2, maybe 3 years, if you can get him to stay for that extra year. Here's hoping. Again, fingers crossed. Yep. Here's what he says. I like that Coach Venables is a hard coach. Whether you're doing good or bad, he's always going to make you feel like you're not doing enough. I feel like you need a coach like that, someone who's going to push you to be great no matter what. He's going to get everything out of you, and that's a good thing.
That's huge. Like, that basically just kind of validates a lot of just the background of Brent Venables. Like, remember, him taking this job as his first head coaching job, he was very meticulous and really specific about this. He initially, was underneath Bill Snyder up there at Kansas State. That's where he started his career. Followed Bob Stoops to Oklahoma after Stoops left, went to Florida, and then came to Oklahoma. So he, Bob Stoops, and then Dabo Swinney. So three guys that are Hall of Famers. He was underneath greats, and he just absorbed as much as possible. And he understood, got to get the most out of your people. And it shows with the culture and just the way that people rave about the staff and the people. You put it this way, you can tell who the staff really like when it comes to players, recruits, all of that. And a lot of the players that the former Oklahoma players love coming back, especially the 2000s guys. They love coming back, and they show so much respect to the legends too. So you got these players happily returning, hanging out, passing their knowledge down. That's a culture, and you only get that if the culture is set to where these players are ready to accept it, be accountable to themselves, and be responsible, and go out there and they want to represent the school in the best way.
Parker Livingston had this to say. One of the new guys on campus, he says he preaches and talks a lot about culture and getting people to buy in. It's amazing what happens when you talk about it, preach about it, and live by it. I think he absolutely does all three. When all the coaches are emulating those values, the players buy in, and you build one heck of a team. That's what we're doing right now. And I think that's part of what makes Brent Venables a guy that's really easy to root for, is that he's trying to do things the right way, living things out the right way. And that dude, he pushes himself as hard as he pushes his players. I mean, running stadiums in August in Oklahoma, that is not for somebody who decides they want to take it easy in life. No, that guy is about as physically fit as of a head coach as you'll find in college football or any sport for that matter at the collegiate level. And again, it comes from he has high expectations for his own health, and he's pushing himself to maintain those expectations.
Yeah, it always cracks me up that they have that that he does that, and everyone always sees it and points it out like, man, Brent Venables is running the stairs. And it's like, do y'all not realize that this is what he always does? He's always done this. This has always been his thing. Like, he's done this for years, and it always cracks me up. But, you know, when he's out there working like that, it reminds the players to work hard too, which is, of course, I think that's what, like you said, the players really appreciate that no, he's definitely down for us by busting his tail with that.
Because I had a baseball coach in high school that had us running so much, man. We were running like off season 3 miles 3 times a week.
Sounds
My
awful.
dude, my head coach, he was built like an offensive lineman. We'll just say that. And like an old offensive lineman that hadn't slimmed down yet. I'm trying to be nice about it. And I'm like, you couldn't run 100 yards, and yet you're asking us to do this. But when you have a coach that's out there doing it, like Brent Venables is, he's like, I'm pushing myself physically. Let's go to work.
Yeah.
It does mean something. It sets the tone. It's like Aragorn, charging Mordor. He's like, we're going to go fight. We're going to go help Frodo. I'm going to be the first one out. I'm going to go lead this charge for Frodo. Let's go. Right?
Yeah.
Is that too nerdy on this episode of Locked On Sooners? I apologize if it is.
Just a little bit. It's okay. We appreciate the nerdiness coming out when we're talking ball here, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Right? He gets the most out of his players, and that's something that I truly appreciate. We all appreciate it. I think the players appreciate it like crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it trickles down through the coaching staff, just and it's not just hey, I go work out and I work hard, but it's also what they do extra. Nate Dreiling was a guy that worked a ton with the linebackers throughout the offseason and throughout the season doing extra. Obviously, Taylor Wein, he spent a lot of extra time with Miguel Chavis. That's what everybody kept talking about all last offseason, was how much work Taylor Wein was putting in the building. And the coaches are a part of that. And what allows them to also be a part of that is this front office staff working overtime, freeing up the coaches to do that. So yeah, it's just a whole culture of, hey, we're going to do the extra. We're going to put forth the extra stuff. Caden McIntyre had this to say: it's the consistency of his intensity. He's going to be on everyone every day. His coaching style doesn't change, and he expects the most out of everybody all the time.
That quote reminds me of, I forgot which player it was, but they talked about playing for the San Antonio Spurs back when Tim Duncan was there and Greg Popovich was coaching. And they were like, it's kind of hard to not listen to Pop when he's really MFing Tim Duncan, and Tim Duncan listens, takes it, and then goes out there and busts his tail. It's like, how do you be mad at the coach for getting on to you when he's getting on the star player the exact same way? And the star player's like, you're right, coach. Let me go fix this. And they go fix it. You can't. You can't really. You kind of got to accept it. And then you go out there and bust it because you know that the coach actually cares. Like most coaches are afraid to do that to their star players. They're afraid they're going to lose their star players. But no, the star players like, no, I want to be coached hard.
Right.
And these players that you can tell that they've as BV's doing this, he's telling them like, no, we want to be coached hard. We want to grow, and that's the way you do it. And they're taking accountability for it. So I like that. And BV is tough on himself. He takes so much responsibility in what he does. Is one of the things you appreciate a lot. And so I'm just glad that he's going to continue. He's continuously doing that for all of them.
And in addition to the intensity, he's created and fostered a culture that shows that they care about the players off the field as well, through soul mission, just even through the relationships that they've built, where it's like, hey, yes, we want you to be the very best football player that you can be for the program, but we also want you to grow and become the very best man that you can be for when you're outside the program, when you go into the world, when you graduate from college and you go into the workforce, you have a family, you're a father, like all that stuff, it matters to them. And it matters to Brent Venables and to his coaching staff. And that's how you build a culture. It can't just simply be about, hey, come help me win a bunch of football games so I can make my paycheck better. It's, hey, come to this program where we can develop you as a player, as a person. And along the way, let's go try to win some football games. But it's kind of the Ted Lasso thing where he talks about, I'm quoting a lot of movie TV tonight, and it's cool, where Ted Lasso is talking to Krim in the first season of the show. And he's talking about how when, his level of success isn't defined by wins and losses necessarily, but by helping every player become the best version of themselves. Yep. Now I get it. Wins and losses are going to be what defines a college football coach in America. Sure. At the same time, if we're just winning games, but we can't be proud of the program, it gets a little stinky, right? Like it makes it a little bit conflicted. I get national championship or bust. You just want to win football games. We're not playing school, playing house, or any of that stuff. At the same time, you want to root for a team that you can be proud of. At least I do.
Same. That's kind of the way I like to live life is. Yeah, exactly that.
Yep. And so what's great about what Brent Venables has created is you've got a team that is going to bust their tail every single time that they're on the field. And
no questions.
The effort is going to be there. You don't have to question the effort or the level of intensity that they take into a football game. Our players going to make mistakes 100%, but they're going to make them at 110%. And that's what you want, right? I've never heard a coach say it's okay if you go 80% and you're in the right spot, but you're going 80%. No, they'd rather you go 110% and mess up, because the next time you go 110%, you're probably going to get it right. So anyway, Any final thoughts on this, Jay?
Nope. I think I'm good. That's I'm exactly. I'm glad that we're getting to that point. I'm glad that I'm glad that the culture is starting to catch up with everybody, and now we need to just fully execute on the field.
Yep. And it's like I said, coming into the segment, as much as everybody wants to make it about everything else in sports, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it doesn't matter. The NIL matters, the revenue sharing matters, funding for programs, it matters. But what's going to allow for Oklahoma to be consistent for a long time is culture.
Yep.
And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check his workout there at Unfair Sports for more Oklahoma Sooners and college football coverage. You can follow me at John 9 Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners. And for more Locked On Sooners with less ads, go check out the Everydayer Club at LockedOnSooners.supercast.com. Use promo code March and get your first month free through the NCAA tournament. Again, that's lockedonsooners.supercast.com. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.